Your sensors are correct. Do not adjust your heading. You've discovered the Omega Particle, streaming to the Alpha Quadrant and beyond. Here's your host, the anchorman of the Federation, the Doctor of Dilithium. This is Jonathan Wiegand.
Welcome, all you thrill seekers and intellectuals alike. I am your humble host, Jonathan Wiegand, your anchorman of the Federation. I'm so happy you have decided to join us today. We are reviewing the episode Charades, and that is no charade or facade. Gosh, who writes these jokes, Luna? Luna, my intern, everybody, from Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 5. And this whole episode was about nursing Spock back to health in one way or the other. And I guess you could say he was nursing those heart muscles. There's just so many inappropriate pun jokes I could make, but we're going to try to keep it as classy as we can because, you know, this is a family show here. So real quick, I will say this is the only episode I've actually ever laughed at during. And I noticed we get that rom-com feeling back again. Instead of you got mail, it's you got comms. All right, Luna, you lost your script writing privileges. These are awful. My gosh. Wow. Okay. I mean, I love this episode, the interdimensional colors coming to life, literally. And the biggest question I have is what's going to happen next week? You know, they're constantly changing. It makes me think, will we ever get a season-long arc? Ever get an arc that's more than one episode? Maybe not. I mean, we have longer arc, you know, to keep Pike in the beep chair, as I like to call it. But I'm telling you, I'm just going to say right now, they're going to try, and major prediction, so hold on to your hats, they're going to really try to outmaneuver, mess with the timeline, get the canon altered or something, so Pike doesn't end up that way. So that Pike gets into his own, you know, long life and the show can go on for many, many years, etc., because as we all know, Paramount Plus or PP Plus is hemorrhaging money really bad and they need a winner, and Strange New Worlds is a winner to PP Plus, so they're just not going to let it walk away, you know, take the horse out to the glue factory. It's okay. I'm from Kentucky, so I can make those jokes, but they're not going to get rid of it. And they're going to keep it around as long as they can, which will probably be at the expense of plot points and script writing and acting. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Either way, real quick, speaking of PP Plus, I don't know if you guys have kept up with the news, but the strike is going on strong, I guess. I mean, hopefully we have the actors joining now, so hopefully they can get some more money and rights and not kind of keep AIs out of the business as much as possible. We just don't know, and I'll let you guys know, maybe do another episode as developments occur, but we know one thing, if it keeps continuing, we will not get any new Star Trek for quite some time, unfortunately. But never fear, we have new Trek now, and Luna, let's get into it and play a game of Charades. So throughout the decades since Star Trek first came on TV in 1966, Spock has undeniably emerged as one of the most cherished and adored character in the franchise's history. Whether you watch Big Bang Theory or The Simpsons, Spock is usually the main guy that they comment on, or always tied to Star Trek. And in this most recent episode of Strange New Worlds, this intriguing twist unfolds as Spock's Vulcan DNA is temporarily removed, rendering him completely human, ears and all. And he has this monumentous dinner to his betrothed, T'Pring, and her parents, which I have to say, this episode made me appreciate my mother-in-law. She's great. I love her. She's awesome. But it just makes me, wow, there's some people out there that have terrible mother-in-laws. As we all know, T'Pring and Spock won't end up together, but this lady is just awful. My gosh. And super racist. Like, she just hates humans. Okay, we'll get into it. But so this whole, transformative development really just allowed Ethan Peck, the man that plays Spock, just a remarkable opportunity to just showcase his comedic prowess, his comedic chops, as I like to say, and delving into just, the depths of Spock's human side. Again, we've been playing this character for 50, 60 years, and this is the first time the dude's ever made me laugh, and I've seen every episode multiple times, so hats off to Ethan Peck. But as we see Peck navigate the complexities of being completely human, the character undergoes, to me, just a delightful exploration, exposing new facets of his personality and the emotional range that Spock has. And moreover, probably what everyone's going to take away from this episode, including your anchorman here, is this significant step forward in the relationship between Nurse Chapel and Spock. And we finally get these bubbling emotions to come to the forefront and simmer, and now they're here. And if you've been watching the show a long time, week by week, or just all at once, you can't deny that just the chemistry and the connection has been coming off the screen, and now it's become so central to the narrative of the show, and it's add just a complexity, to the unfolding story. So every week it changes, but it's kind of nice to have this complex love arc in between. Now I know some people don't like it. They're like, it's romance and I hate romance. No, it's my nerd voice, Luna. Get over it. And I think it's great. I think you can explore these characters. They're not just one-dimensional. This is great. And I think as viewers, we're treated to this compelling examination of Spock's emotional journey and his intricacies as a person, and just this awesome romance. And it's been truly enjoyable to watch, and it'll be a memorable addition to Star Trek canon for sure. Which, another great emotional trophy, I can't think of a better word, because that's what it is about Spock's mother, and we'll get into that. So this episode also marks the return of Mia Kirshner, whose portrayal of Spock's mother, Amanda Grayson, is just exudes an incredible blend of gentleness yet resilience, and provides a deeper insight into the profound bond between her mother and son. Better, in my opinion, better than any other person that's ever kind of played her before. And that may be controversial, but that's just me. And definitely better than Winona Ryder. Nothing against Winona Ryder, but it's just that her speech and Spock's speech when he was defending her in front of T'Pring's family, I just was like, go to you, bro. Defend your mom, yeah. And we're going to get into it later on in the episode, so don't worry about that. And then I know a lot of people, however, to kind of take a left all of a sudden, were eagerly anticipating, the connections between Amanda and Pelia. But again, they kind of just wrote her off and said, oh, Pelia is going off and getting some artifacts, or she needs some dilithium. And like, okay. So again, Carol Kane's character is absent from this particular week's episode, so maybe we'll get one on episode 6, hopefully so. Nevertheless, Kane's presence remains felt as her character, senses warm regards despite her absence, a reassuring reminder that the show has not overlooked the intriguing tidbits from, the season premiere. However, overall, with the episode, I will have to say, with its mix of humor, its heartfelt moments, its Spock defending his mom, its poignant exploration of the characters' relationships, Charades undoubtedly cements itself as a standout installment in this captivating journey that is Strange New Worlds. And I have to say, Pike in this episode really made me like him. He was funny, relatable, kind of that awkward wingman, in college or high school that you sometimes had to put up with your antics. Definitely reminded me of that. So on a personal note, I was like, okay, Pike's kind of moving up my captain chart here. But don't tell anybody, that's just between us. And so that's kind of been my episode review for the week and what I thought. But let's get into some more deeper context of the show. And the first one is good old LOVE, love. What's love got to do with it? Well, it's got everything to do with it. And it's all in one simple line. And that was from Spock at the end of the episode, where he goes, I want to feel this. Gosh, there's so many jokes I could do right now, but I'm not going to do it. kids. This is a family show. Okay, let's get back to business. So this profound declaration, to me, carries immense weight, particularly when it emanates, from Spock himself. I'm so used to Spock, in Wrath of Khan, as he's dying, keeping his composure. He's just so Vulcan. And so for him to come out with such a just declaration is an admission is great. And it's very noteworthy and significantly, escalates this whole episode, in my opinion. It really kind of caps the episode off as a high. And this emotional turmoil that Spock finds himself in, a tempest, he's being tempted by Chapel this whole time, and he's struggling to restrain it. Maybe tempting is a strong word, but it's just kind of a pivotal moment, just kind of shows his poignant transformation and shows that, he learned something from being fully human and that he wants to feel this. And even though, to me, he obviously remains mindful of the consequences that might ensue, especially concerning his connection with T'Pring and, the eventual fallout that might arise from this unresolved situation with her and her family. I know they're taking a break. Nevertheless, it seems like all engines are go with Nurse Chapel and embracing the potential relationship between them two. Or at the very least, they're definitely going to try. And again, as you all know, the episode concludes with this enthusiastic kiss. The screen fades to black, and the future is uncertain. Yet, at this juncture, the focus lies not on the consequences, but on the force that binds Spock and Chapel together. A magnetic pull they can no longer resist. And it's kind of been feeling that way for a very long time. And so I'm kind of glad that they finally wrapped it up poignantly in an episode and in one transformative moment, watershed moment, we can say, boom. And, they're, like I've said before, they're definitely going to overlook the repercussions and the consequences of this, of maybe even having a relationship, but they don't care. It's, again, this rom-com feel that we don't really get that much in Star Trek. When I watched the episode, it reminded me of one other big watershed moment that we've kind of been waiting years for. And that was between Odo and Kira Nerys in DS9. It's exactly what it reminded me. When they finally kissed on the promenade, I was like, I think it's season 6, is that right, Luna, of DS9? I was like, oh, this is exactly what it's like. You kind of like the will they, won't they, back and forth, kind of, the nonsense with that, but secretly we all enjoy it. So I'm kind of glad that it finally happened and we can kind of move on and see what will transpire from all of this. And well, I have to say, first off, they definitely crafted and wrote an amazing episode. And the two authors, Catherine Lynn and Henry Onslow Myers, with Jordan Canning skillfully directing, this episode unexpectedly just shot out for us. And so hats off to those three people. Awesome. And on the other, again, we're taking another left here. Strange New Worlds does have a penchant for swiftly resolving ongoing storylines and refusing to draw them out across numerous episodes. We've had this Chapel Spock thing, but it's kind of been on literally, if there's a back burner on your stove, think, okay, there's one behind that. So this is where it's been at. And another great example is, Mbengwa's daughter and the enigma, of Una's augmentation. We've had these things on the back burner, and then we'll just get one episode that resolves it and it's done. And so maybe that's just because that's how they want to keep Strange New Worlds, the flow of the episodes going. I don't know, but I think that's definitely looking at precedent. That's what they're doing. And like I mentioned before, this tale doesn't reach its conclusion entirely. We still have some more left to do and what's going to happen. And perhaps this is because, thanks to our knowledge from the original series, we already know some details about the T'Pring Chapel Spock dynamic. And additionally, I have to say the narrative treats T'Pring with fairness, and respect, establishing her as a compelling character who would potentially be an ideal match for Spock. And she has absolutely every right to be upset at Spock for not trusting her and telling her. And I feel like Spock almost put her on a pedestal, that he was almost afraid to interact and show his human side to her at all times. And this really bit him badly. So I kind of completely understand and the decision to be like, we need to separate. You don't even trust me with anything. of importance, but you trust these other people. So definitely is logical to me, should I say. But alas, Spock's heart lies somewhere else. And we might get a love triangle in the future. It's hard to tell, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully not, hopefully it's resolved and we'll just get a little Chapel Spock things from time to time. So moving on, we have some, like to label this the complicated aspect of the story. So naturally, the fact that these characters share a history that unfolded in the original series, introduces its own set of complications and complexities. Just like Spock. Not Spock, but yes, but just like Pike. Is it inevitable? Is he destined for a tragic accident as depicted in Amok Time? I don't know, but we'll have to see. Really, I think we're just going to have to be shills for the corporations, and we're just going to have to go where they take us, unfortunately. But we are aware of the apparent fate that Chapel and Spock won't end up together, as we know. But again, are they willing to play with canon to satisfy us now? Again, that's dangerous coming into prequels like this and having the effect on canon, which I do not like. Canon's canon, hence the name canon. You don't change it. And is Spock destined not to marry T'Pring? We just don't know. I'm curious where this show is going to eventually lead and end, but the theme of preordained destinies seems to kind of reverberate across the whole series. I mean, questioning everybody, because we know how everyone's supposed to end up, but I feel like they're toying with us in a weird, terrible way almost. It almost simultaneously branches out, includes new elements, such, as Spock's previously unmentioned sister. We had no idea. The show just remains to be seen, if it'll be strict to the established canon or perhaps find new ways to circumnavigate it. And I know the characters seem really familiar, as they always do, and, it's okay to have reimagined interpretations and some flexibility in their narratives. In fact, on the other side of the coin, I think it's unjust to be rigidly confined to the events of the original series, especially considering the, chemistry between Ethan Peck and Jesh Bush, who do amazing with Chapel and Spock. I don't know. To me, I think you should have it's kind of a balancing act. There should be some flexibility, but also not 100% rigid, but also some adherence to the original canon, because I feel like they almost want to get rid of the original series in a way, because they're like, we're tired of this. Look at everything that we've come out on Paramount Plus. We have Discovery, Strange New Worlds. It's all around the original series, and that's why Discovery had to go freaking 1,000 years in the future, because I feel like they were kind of coming up to a wall and they didn't know what to do, so they're like, future. And now it's like we're going to eventually come to the events and Amok Time, like I mentioned earlier, and are we going to get anything different? Alternate timeline, and we're going to be like, this is Universe 11AC, and we're like, okay, this is getting Marvel nonsense here. Don't get me wrong, I like the Marvel movies. I don't want this to be an alternate timeline, alternate universe nonsense. Just keep it what it is and keep it simple. If you guys watch things other than Star Trek and sci-fi, I always respect Vince Gilligan from Breaking Bad. It's a older show on AMC. I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. But he only did the 5 seasons. And even though AMC gave him so much money to extend it out maybe to 7 or 8 seasons, Vince Gilligan was adamant on keeping it only at 5 seasons, because he said the story can only be told in 5 seasons and needs to be told in 5 seasons. It can't be any more, can't be any less. This is what it is. And that was the projection, from the get-go. Or you can even, if you're not into, crime lord dramas with Ted Lasso on Apple TV, it's the same thing. It was going to be a 3-season arc. That was the plan from the get-go, and now the 3 seasons have concluded. They've maybe theoretically ended the show. So I don't like this idea that with Strange New Worlds or even Discovery, even though Discovery's ending at season 5, there's really no plan. I feel like we're just J.J. Abrams and the Star Wars sequel trilogy. We have no plan, and that's dangerous to me. Because even though Picard, it was awesome, that was a one-hit wonder, baby. That's our Ice Ice Baby of the 1990s. It was great, it was awesome, but we still got to keep giving good Trek. And even though I love Strange New Worlds now, it makes me hesitant to see them paint themselves into a corner. And as we all know, Chapel and Spock don't end up together, but they might. Maybe Pike doesn't end up in the beep beep chair. I don't know, but that is my thoughts on it. I can stop ranting about it. I think if they do, I would riot. I'd be very pissed. That's all I'll say. Let me know what you think. Reach out on social media, and I'd love to hear from you guys. And another segment of the show we're going on to is the meta-ness of Spock's ears. So the plot and plight of Spock is, undeniably heart-trending as he just, endures this overwhelming, quote-unquote, scent of humans in silence for an extended period of time. And it's like notably, delightfully meta to have Peck donning those molded Vulcan ears, probably the same ones he wears as Spock, to be real. And it just kind of adds another layer of authenticity to his portrayal. I will say, though, that his inclusion of scenes where he receives acting guidance, on how to embody Vulcan behavior, also kind of adds like a charming touch of self-awareness to the production of the show and of his acting. And it's almost like a behind-the-scenes effort to master the intricacies of Vulcan demeanor. And kind of, to me, it just enhanced the viewing and just made it more fun, the lack of a better word, and just offered a glimpse into the artistry of the actors and the production team. And this attention to detail just really reinforced to me the immersive quality of the show and further strengthened the connection between the performers and their iconic roles, again, especially with Ethan Peck. But we can't end the show without talking about some great mom love, some great mother lovers. And I think Kirshner delivers an exceptional performance as Amanda, allowing us to gain an understanding of the challenges she faces being married to a Vulcan, living on Vulcan, and kind of seeing her unwavering love for Sarek. And portrayal to me is just very enjoyable, infusing the character with an abundance of just this charisma, or riz, as the young people say now. But to me, I felt like this was just a heartwarming tribute to mothers, to be honest. It just explored the integral dynamics of maternal love and the sacrifices made for their children and the well-being of their loved ones. And it just really gracefully, and what might I add, unveiled the depths that Amanda has for Spock and just the trials and tribulations she's went through. So I really enjoyed it. I thought that was great. And it just kind of gave this like energy that it's really hard to give to Spock's mother, like, I know that's a very difficult role to play. Do you play it like more muted because, okay, this human's been living on Vulcan, their emotions are going to be muted, but I really like that she wasn't, that Pat Nick's portrayal was just a delightful layer of charm and a delightful cherry on top of an amazing episode of Charades. Anyway, that has been a review of Charades. Thank you all so much for listening. And Luna, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. And as always, please reach out to us on all of our social medias. We're on the Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I love hearing from you guys. It's always been a lot of fun interacting with all of you. And if you're not a big fan of Strange New Worlds, and if you aren't, I'd be surprised if you're listening to this 25 or 26 minutes in. But we have a special guest and a special episode coming out in a few days, and kind of resurrecting our Trek Roundtable. So we're going to be mixing some of the worst Trek episodes with some drinking, some good old-fashioned drinking. It'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait for you guys to hear this. It was great to record, and I had an absolute blast with this special guest, but you'll be seeing that in a few days come out, so be on the lookout for that. And as always, everybody, remember, take care of yourselves, take care of your mental health. And I have to put this out there that I hope the USA women can win. Or is it the 5th World Cup, Luna? Is that right? I think the World Cup just got started a few days ago. So hopefully we can we can bring home number 5, and I don't offend any of my international listeners who are probably big fans of their home countries as well. But it's good that we have soccer back, and I hope our ladies can bring it home. Anyway, everybody, take care of yourselves out there, and second start of the right. Straight on till morning.